Women are really good at beating ourselves up and allowing all the societal pressure that we've always had since we were little girls to to look at ourselves as the flaw, right? I don't have enough to do this. I'm too fat. I'm too thin. I look like this. This part of me doesn't work. I don't know how to draw boundaries. I don't know how to approach these people. I mean, advertising. Oh, crepey skin? You'd think that's a guy standing there with the crepe? No, of course not. It's a woman, right? So
True.
we get beat up and beat ourselves up and allowed our, all the time. But when somebody says to me, and even to myself, I look at sometimes, dang, I just retired. I'm 63 years old and I'm just starting this completely new level of my business. I've been a therapist part-time for all the years I was teaching. But now I'm in the social media world and I'm speaking through business associations and conferences and podcasting, all this stuff that I had no connection to even just over a year ago. It's been a complete rebuild and it's really fun, first of all, to do something completely out of your lane. I'm not dead yet. Why don't I do something completely different? And and friends will say to me, like, wow, I have a young friend who says, my mom is like just a little older than you. And she's like, you aren't similar. I'm like, no, I still got all this going on. I'm going to take it forward. So when people say I'm too old for that, well, next year you're going to be older, whether you do this new thing or not, right? Whether you try this new idea or step into this new world or connect with this new person, you're still going to be a year older, so you might as well get after it, see what happens.
Yeah. And that attitude that what makes somebody old? What, I mean, really, what does it? I mean, I see people younger than me, and yeah, exactly. I mean, you think that they're on their last leg, and I say, my God, you're like 60, 65 years old. You're like a kid,
Mhm,
I mean,
mhm.
and it's that attitude. And how do we keep that up when sometimes our warranty does wear out a little bit on our bodies?
Yep, yep, it does. It can. And looking at that, and I want to be sensitive to situations that do happen to people physically, especially injury and such.
Sure.
But let's look at ourselves, not anyone else looking at us. Let's look at ourselves at what are you doing? Are you moving as much as you can move? Are you hydrating yourself well? Are you eating whole foods that include fruits and vegetables? Are you avoiding too much sugar and, junk? Um, just those things. We forget, and the food industries are not helpful at all. We forget that things that are not whole foods have additives in them that are not good for us, that our bodies are trying to process every day with all the other exterior stuff going on. To treat ourselves as well as we can, we'll make ourselves feel better. Make sure we're drinking lots of water, leave the soda, skip the caffeine, move your body when you feel depressed and sad, and just push yourself out the door and start walking. Anything like that. No one to talk to, find a tree. Talk to a tree. Trees will stand there and listen and they won't judge you. A little animal, a pet that you have, get that out of yourself. Things that are bothering you, get it out of yourself somewhere. It doesn't have to be a conversation with another human. I certainly didn't start talking to humans when I needed somebody to talk to. Horses, dogs, trees, birds, anything, just to get it out.
Yeah, you got it out. And kind of leads me into another, you kind of answered some of it, but I'm curious, what do you do for self-care for yourself?
I have some routines. So I'll acknowledge first that a self-care routine of any sort is hard to start because habits are hard to build. Oh, I'm going to do, think about all the gyms there are in the country, right? Every January. Okay, everybody get your New Year's resolution going on. Join, come on, everybody come. People join all over the place and then they throw themselves into this world and working out like crazy for 2 weeks every single day and then they burn out and quit.
Yep.
It's like a model. That's a model for those businesses. They know you're going to come in January and you'll be gone by February. And they don't help people to, um, first of all, if you're going to start something new, start small. Take a small bite. Don't do it all at once. But for my own self-care, there are things that I do. One of them is Jinshin Jitsu, which is a Japanese energy modality that involves the meridian system, like acupuncture involves the meridian system. Every morning before I get out of bed, and sometimes it's hard, every morning before I go to bed, get out of bed, I do an energy practice, which is just about holding certain parts of my body and breathing. It's not hard to do in that way. It's hard to like, oh, dang, I gotta get up and do this other thing. I don't have time for that today. So I have to really, like, I do not let myself out of bed until I do a little bit of Jinshin. And then I either work out in the morning or if that's not on my docket, I will at least get out the door and walk. Like half asleep, pull my clothes on, put on my shoes, just start moving. So my day always starts with some kind of movement. And if it's a really terrible weather day and I can't go out and do it, I'll go downstairs and turn the radio on and dance around the living room for 20 minutes. Anything to just get it going. Oh, and shoot, I should send this to you later when you put your show notes in. I didn't include it in the free gift that I sent. Um, there's a practice that the Japanese do regularly, and it's done by others around the world, but Japanese are known for it, even though it was originated in the United States in the early 1900s, called Radio Taiso. In Japan, the national radio station at 6:30 in the morning broadcasts a 3.5 minute exercise with the
Oh,
same music, and everybody, wherever they are, their offices, their
God.
homes, whatever, they all do it. And it's like 3.5 minutes just to get yourself moving and get you oxygenated and move your joints. So much better than getting out of bed, pouring a cup of coffee, getting dressed, getting in the car, going to your office and sitting at your desk without taking some time to honor the temple that you're walking around in. So yeah, self-care and first thing in the morning, always hydration, and I always find some way to move during the day. And in the middle of the day, if I'm here, I'm screened doing whatever, then I'll get up and do several minutes of Taiso, or I'll walk around the block again, or anything to just keep that situation going.
I love that. It reminds me the old joke, my mind is a dangerous place to be alone.
Yes. Oh my God. It's a joke, but Jody, that is what is going on with people today, right? How many people in America are on antidepressants because they're so anxious and they're so stressed out and they don't know what to do, and being alone with themselves, which is, I think, sadly, one of the reasons some people avoid time in nature. Because you usually go out there in nature and you're with yourself, right? You're not, you can go with a friend, whatever, that's great, but
Right.
you're not by yourself. It
No.
it requires you to be with yourself, right? So if we don't take times to slow that down and not fill it up with phones and TVs and all the stuff, then we don't get to know ourselves. And sometimes some of us are carrying some really heavy stuff that we don't want to think about or remember. And I'm going to pour a drink. I'm going to take a drug, legal or illegal, right? The things that we do, overeating. I mean, one more bag of Doritos makes me feel good for a minute, but then it doesn't. Those are the
Mm,
things we get caught up in when we can't be with ourselves comfortably.
yeah. If you had one superpower that maybe you do have or you'd like to have, what would that be? Just kind of curious.
Oh man, I have a different answer to this question every day.
Me
One
too.
superpower. Nutrition is really popping up for me today. I would say I would make it illegal to use for companies to include artificial ingredients in the food.
Wow.
Yeah, that'd be big, wouldn't it?
That would be really big.
Right?
I
No
love that.
dyes, no colors, no preservatives, no all the junk that our bodies are not designed to process. Imagine if everybody ate food that was more healthful. No artificial ingredients in food. There you go. Solved it.
There you go, solving world problems in 3 seconds or less, I love it. What is do you have a favorite book you like? I always like to increase my collection or a quote or something that helps motivate you when you feel the ups and downs of life?
Oof. Let's see. My favorite quote is by Maya Angelou, and I'm sure I'll hack it up, but I think the gist is there. People will forget what you did. People will forget what you said, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
True. Beautiful.
And I'm sure I bastardized it a little bit, but the end, I know I got that right. People will never forget how you made them feel. Charlotte's Web is still my favorite book of all time.
Interesting.
Doesn't matter how old I am. I love that book. Let's see. I read a book about a circus elephant named Modoc, Modoc, that I absolutely loved. And I have here, this is sort of I would call it my Jin Shin Jitsu Bible. This book, The Power to Heal Myself by Betty Wall. She is a Jin Shin Jitsu practitioner of high level here in Boulder and Boulder, Colorado, and partly lives in Massachusetts too. But she took the practice of Jin Shin Jitsu and broke it all down into really simple to read with diagrams, how to use the practice for yourself. And I use this every day. And sometimes I'll have a pain in the side of my neck. I'll have a stiff neck muscle issue, and I know what holds to do to release that. Or, I twist an ankle, or my back is sore, or I'm feeling stressed out, or sort of in general. That book, and I decided I didn't write that one. The one I wrote is Cracking the Crazy Maker's Code. I sell her book as well as my own because I believe that much in what that has done for me. Yeah. And there's a lot of finger holds in Jin Shin Jitsu to complete energy circuits in the body that give us a calmness. And I'll show you with my hand, and your audience can grab a piece of paper and draw their hand, trace their hand if they want to look at this. Um, there are finger holds that help us energetically balance our emotions. And so if you hold up one hand, doesn't matter which one. The thumb is in the negative. The thumb is related to fear, index anxiety, middle finger anger. I bet you could have guessed that.
I was going to say that's very appropriate. She go figure why that was its anger.
Right? Hello.
Hello.
The ring finger is sadness, and pinky is pretense, like not being who you really are. Right. So fear and worry here in the thumb and index finger are the things that get to me the most. Nothing offends me, so the anger is not such a big deal. Fortunately, right now, I'm not in a deep grief situation, blah, blah, blah. But anxiety in general, I have so many things going on and people and shiny objects and ideas, and I can't do it all, la, 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 la. So holding any of those fingers, sometimes somebody's in an anger place right now, and they're just really, really, hold that finger with the other hand, gently, firmly, but gently, and just hold. And as you hold, you want to belly breathe. So when you bring in through your nose, bring your breath in through your nose, expand your diaphragm. Let that muscle that's up against your lungs expand like a baby's belly, and then back out through your nose. So for me, anxiety comes up. Sometimes I'll wake up at 3 in the morning. That's a fun thing women do when we're over 50 or so, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that stress comes. So I will hold both my thumb and my index finger with the other hand, my fear and worry, gently but firmly. And if I'm in bed, I'm waking up and I can't go back to sleep easily, I'll go to sleep. I mean, even when I just lay my head down to go to sleep in the first place, I'm holding these two on the pillow, always. And if I wake up in the night and I'm having a hard time going back to sleep, I will hold these. Or if I'm out in the world somewhere and something's triggering me and I need to ground myself again, I'll hold my thumb and index finger, and just breathe a minute through my nose with your tongue pressed up against the roof of the mouth. And I've been doing this long enough that when I take a hold of those fingers, I can feel the energy sort of tingle from one hand to the other. Practice that a while, you'll start noticing it.
Yeah, thank you. That is
Just
so helpful.
settles your energy.
I love that. Well, please share with our audience how you can help them even more, please.
Sure. So when I really decided this was my path, the first thing I did was write a book, and I made it easily accessible to read. It's short. It is Cracking the Crazy Maker's Code: 9 Simple Steps to Ease Your Anxiety. Fits in your computer bag. Not a whole lot. Gives you a brief memoir of where I was stuck as a younger person, the path that I took to get myself out of that. And then within it, at the end of each chapter, are reflections and action steps that folks can take to start building their own path forward. And what I did with that was just put a little QR code right in the first page that folks can use to print out a guided journal that goes with it, that attaches to the end of those chapters. So you can sit with it while you're reading and take notes on your own thoughts and take the action steps that I provide in the book with the journal if you choose to go to that level. But I'd like to quickly define what a crazy maker is, if you don't mind. I think that's really important. At the
Yes.
very beginning, under the How to Use This Book section, I wrote the following. This story is a memoir, and because it is the story of my discovery that crazy makers are behind our anxiety, depression, and relationship stress. Crazy makers can include the people who raised us or with whom we're connected in some way, unhealthy belief systems passed down through generations, or traumatic events we've experienced or witnessed. They are the source of coding that gets into our DNA and programs us to think, believe, and act in ways that sabotage us. That's where the idea from Crazy Makers came from, because they're living la 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 la, right? They're living in the backs of our heads every day, and they are causing us to sabotage ourselves. How many people are in relationships and fighting with their spouses or significant others or kids and just can't figure out how to take that down and move that out? So the Eastern practices that I use, like Jin Shin Jitsu, and then EFT tapping, some of your audience might have heard of that, on a therapeutic level, also really helps to literally unblock the energy pathways in the body. And that involves tapping on certain meridians as we're speaking. We're talking about what it is that's stressing us, and that helps move that out. Jin Shin Jitsu is done in silence. EFT incorporates the speaking part of it, and also incorporates EMDR. You might have heard of eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, helping to integrate the two sides of the brain. It uses sound. Da, 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 da. It uses touch sometimes on the outside of the legs or outside of the arms. And that's all incorporated in the therapeutic level of EFT tapping. So that and Jin Shin Jitsu and wildlife imagery are really, really helpful. And then finally, in polyvagal theory, really quickly, we have an autonomic nervous system. The sympathetic side is seen as kind of the tension, the fight and flight. The parasympathetic side, more relaxing, letting down. I think of it, I para go means around, right? So I kind of do this like the hugging, the hug system. So
Yeah.
your vagus nerve has a ventral and dorsal section, and when the dorsal vagus nerve is, we're in sympathetic, we're tense, we're tight, we're when we're in ventral vagal, when that is more stimulated, we can lower our heart rate, our visceral organs relax, and we can ground ourselves. So I'll go over, if you have another minute, one breathing technique that really helps activate the ventral vagus nerve that calms us. And it's so easy to remember. All you have to remember is the number 4. That's it.
I
It's
can do that.
it's called box breathing, and it's used by Navy SEALs. Evidence-based use by Navy SEALs, who I'm sure you can imagine get into some very stressful situations in training and in work and the work that they do. And this breathing method helps calm us because it is a 4-count breath in through the nose, and then hold the breath for 4 counts. Then back out and then hold while it's down for 4 counts. And the reason we hold the breath, when we're holding the breath, our CO2 levels shift so that the blood pressure, the heart rate will slow down. It literally will take you down because it shifts your CO2 levels when you're holding your breath. So from your belly, through your nose, 4 breaths in, hold for 4, release for 4, hold for 4. One more time, in for 4, hold, release, hold. When we repeat that at least 4 times, 4 cycles of 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold, 4 cycles, you will lower your blood pressure, and that will bring your anxiety down. I use that breathing technique a lot. There's a lot of really great ones, but that's one you can do on the fly and no one knows you're doing it. You can be walking through the hall at work, and just you're going into a busy meeting, or, you just had a difficult conversation with someone, take your blood pressure back down.
Yeah, that's a great one. We actually do that in yoga, except we usually kind of close up one side of our nostril. We call
Mhm.
it, nostril breathing, and
Yep.
that's extremely helpful. And I love it. Is there anything else you want to share with our audience? Because you really have so many great tips, and we don't want to miss any.
Thank you. So the book that I wrote, The Crazy Maker's Code, is available on Amazon, Goodreads, Barnes and Noble, on my website, bonniebrindle.com. From me directly, I can sign and ship. If you hop on my website and send me a note on the contact page, I can personalize it and ship it directly. I also do, in the same package, do send out The Power to Heal Myself by Betty Wall on the Jin Jitsu practice, which like I said, I use every day, and I think enough of it to put it out there in the world. I did include that you have now, Jody, the free gift digital that folks can download. So that includes the reminders about hydration, movement, using your imagery, imagining your happy place, imagining an animal or a being that can be with you to help you get through situations. And also at the bottom of that, since part of what I do is speaking for podcasts, associations, events, businesses, the contact for that is bonniebrindlespeaks.com. So any one of those ways you can get in touch with me, and I'd love to hear from your audience for how I can help them. Then there's a Calendly on there where people can book a free 15-minute chat about how I can help you or your group or team. So thanks.
Wonderful. Well, yes, we love all of this important information, easily accessible for all of you. And thank you for helping us live in the energy of our legacy now, not later. Thank you very much, Bonnie.
Thank you.